Here's a pop question for you. Is Parliament in session right now? I'll have the answer for you in a moment. Canada's Parliament is over 150 years old, and it's based on the British system that is over 800 years old. I was elected by you to represent you in Parliament. And last week, the NDP joined with the Liberals to shut down Parliament until September 21st. That's right, Parliament is shut down until September 21st. It makes no sense for this country's decision makers to not be meeting during this difficult time. There have been some big events in the last 150 years, and Parliament has been sitting through all of them. For example, World War I, 60,000 Canadians died. Parliament was sitting throughout that. Spanish flu, 55,000 Canadians died. Parliament was sitting through that. World War II, 42,000 Canadians died. Parliament was sitting through that. And now in COVID-19, we've had around 7,000 deaths so far. Parliament has not been sitting consistently. This is a problem. These deaths are tragic, but Parliament must be meeting to provide direction and law during this time. So is Parliament meeting right now? No, it is not. But you say, don't you see Parliament in session 4 times each week? Well, no. That's the COVID-19 committee that you're seeing. The committee has no powers other than to ask questions of government ministers.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I believe this has absolutely nothing to do with the pandemic. The questions are of other order, in my opinion. Thank you.
So let's just back up. What is Parliament? Well, in Parliament, one of the key things is that government introduces legislation, and that legislation goes through a rigorous process, including debates, amendments, there's multiple readings, many opportunities for questions to be asked, and many times when the government has to defend why they are doing this. Individual MPs can introduce their own private members' bills, which go through the same process. And then there's committees. They get to study the legislation. They get to call witnesses and carefully review everything in that legislation. And the Senate, of course, follows the similar process where they have debate, they have amendments, they have study, they have committees. So Parliament has significant scrutiny with multiple points of question where the government is put on the hot seat, essentially, to defend and explain why they want to implement what they're going to implement. This process puts the government under a microscope. The Liberal government does not like that. So they've opted for a different approach that avoids almost all scrutiny, which brings us back to the COVID-19 committee. It was created by the Liberal NDP coalition to fool Canadians into thinking that government is meeting. It's not. The committee has no powers other than to question government ministers. The Liberals are tightly controlling the messages through Trudeau's daily cottage press conferences.
We all watch.
Now, the Liberals are recalling Parliament for one day in June to approve $85 billion in additional spending. There will be 4 hours of debate with no changes allowed, and this massive spending will be forced through with zero scrutiny. This is not Parliament. This is a dictatorship. Former Parliamentary Budget Officer Kevin Page said, "It is a fundamental principle. Power of the purse rests with the House of Commons. I do not see how 4 hours could be enough time." And the current Parliamentary Budget Officer, Yves Giroux, said, "It comes up as a very expensive 4 hours, potentially, for Canadian taxpayers. The amount of scrutiny for this unprecedented spending would also be unprecedented, but for the wrong reasons." Many Canadians, along with many in the media, have joined in condemning the government for this. For example, Kelly McFarland of the National Post, Brian Lilly from the Toronto Sun, Rex Murphy from the National Post, Robin Urbach from the Globe and Mail, and many others. So, what can we do? Well, you can write letters to Justin Trudeau. And you can sign the e-petition asking for a recall of Parliament. We'll put the link below in this video. But most important, don't be fooled. Parliament is not in session.